Hello everyone and welcome to another video. This is the part 6 of my C programming videos. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee and then we're gonna start. So, in the previous video we were looking at pointers and how we could allocate memory and how we could combine pointers with functions. Now, we actually were a bit naughty here because there's a problem with our code here. We have a loop here where we are calling the new person function, and this new person function is calling calloc, and it's actually calling calloc twice. Now, there's a general rule that if you call calloc or malloc, you have to also call free. You have to free the memory. We haven't freed the memory after ourselves. So, in this video, we're going to look at how we can free memory properly. Now, fortunately for us, this piece of code here, the struct and the new person function here, is a very good example on to use for our freeing memory video here. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to create another folder, part 6. Because this is part 6. Okay, and I'm also going to copy the includes that we had. So I created a new main C in part 6, and we're including stdio.h, stdlib.h, string.h, and we're defining the struct person. It has an integer age, char name. We have a function that allocates memory for a new person, and the function takes in an integer age and a const char string or a char array name. It puts the age on the struct, and it allocates memory for the new string inside of the structs and copies the char array here onto it. And then we have a loop in our main here where we are creating a person. So we're actually creating 10 persons or 10 people, which means that we are calling calloc 10 times 2. Okay, so we need to call free 10 times 2 times as well. Now, so what we can do here to actually clean up the person after us is to free the members of it and free the struct itself. Now, there's a very good tool to check for memory leaks, and the way we can use that, well, first of all, the tool is called valgrind. I'll put a link to it in the description. So what we can do is go into the part 6 folder, and let's recompile main.c with a couple flags. We're gonna do wall and G, okay? Now this is gonna make it so that the binary gets compiled with some, I guess you can call it debugging tools. So let's just compile it like that. And now we got a binary a.out here. If we run that a.out, we're getting the results as the other day. It works perfectly. But now we can do valgrind a.out. Now, valgrind is now telling us that leak summary definitely lost 160 bytes in 10 blocks. So that's not very good, right? Imagine if we had a while loop here instead that ran forever, then eventually we would run out of memory. Now in our case here, it isn't really that bad because we're not looping forever. Our program is terminating after 10 iterations here. But we still want to be, we still want to do this the right way, okay? So, when we are done with the person, in the loop here, we can do free person name, because we called calloc here. We attached the results of the calloc here, which returns a pointer, and we put it on the name. So therefore we need to free the name, and then we need to free person, because person is also a result of a calloc function call, right? And that's it. So now if we do clear here again, and we compile our program again with the same flags, wall and G, like this, and we run the compilation, and we run Valgrind again, we shouldn't see any memory leaks. There we go. All blocks were freed, no leaks are possible. Now what I like to do usually is when I have a constructor like this, like a function that actually gives me or constructs an object for me, usually I also want to create a destructor. Now this is very, for example, C++ has this built in, where if you create a class, you can also create a destructor for it, just like you create a constructor. So a constructor is something that creates something, and a destructor is something that deletes that thing it created, or frees it, or deallocates it. So to do this, it's just a simple function, you know. So we just do void, because our destructor is not going to return anything. And if you say void as a return type, that means that we're not returning anything. So let's just call it person free. Okay, so this will free a person. So it will take in a person pointer, and it's just gonna call these on it. So that's all we're doing. We're just wrapping that in a function. And then we can do person free person. Compile it, run Valgrind, and we should still not see any leaks. No leaks are possible. Cool. So there's one way to, or there's one thing to remember here. You always need to free things when you are done with them. For example, if I would have called the free methods here, and then we're trying to access the members of this person here, or we're trying to access the person, we're actually going to get an error here. So if we compile it and we run the binary, we're going to get some undefined behaviors here. For example, it printed some weird bytes here and some weird numbers. Because this memory, or the data we have assigned here, doesn't really exist anymore. So remember to always free after you're done using it. All right, it's very important. So I'll put the source code in the description as always, and I'll also put a link to Valgrind in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.